What if Doctor Who hadn't been axed in 1989? That's something many have tried to get at, and now it's my turn. I'll be going through this concept at the rate of one season per episode. These videos are based on information released by the BBC and having said by Andrew Cartmel, J&T, Sylvester McCoy, Ben Aaronovitch, and some other people. Doctor Who magazine 255, that issue from 1997 about what if Doctor Who wasn't axed, stories from the Virgin New Adventures and Big Finish, with a lot, and I mean a lot, of guesswork. So, season 28, Garwood's second season, and the new Doctor, Richard Griffiths' first. It also stars Judith Wahala in her first full series as Katie Tillinger. This series also has a new title sequence, which Garwood specifically asked for, and they for the moment still retain the Jean-Michel Jarre theme. Richard Griffiths' new costume was supposed to be still out there, a bit like the 6th Doctors and the 4th Doctors, and, well, most of the Doctors really, but a bit more of John Pertwee in it, but still to be quite stripped back, but work as a Doctor's costume. Stephen Garwood was completely against John Nathan-Turner's way of putting question marks over anything, so the question marks were completely gone. Night Thoughts, written by Edward Young. A remote Scottish mansion. 5 bickering academics are haunted by ghosts from their past. Reluctantly, they offer shelter to the Doctor and his companion Katie. She has already been troubled by a vivid nightmare. Is further disturbed by the nighttime appearance of a whistling, hooded apparition. Katie tries to befriend the young housemaid, Sue. Sue knows secrets. She knows why the academics are assembled here, and she knows why they are so afraid, but Sue's lips are sealed, preferring to commute through her disturbing toy, Happy the Rabbit. And then the killing begins, gruesome deaths that leave the Doctor and his friends to discover the grisly truth behind the academics' plans, and the ghosts of the past become the ghosts of the present, to recognise sometimes that death can be preferable to life. This season starts off as the other one ended, the regeneration. As a pre-credit scene, we get a rerun of the regeneration, slightly edited down. That moves into the new title sequence, which now has Richard Griffiths' face in, as well as the new graphics. After the titles, we get a sequence, much like in Castrovalva, of the Doctor, Katie, and their new companion Henrik getting to the TARDIS. For the first part of the 4-part story, it is set in the TARDIS with the Doctor picking his clothes, discovering more of his personality, and having a good old chinwag with Katie and Henrik as we learn more about him. The cliffhanger consists of the TARDIS being controlled by an unknown source and being forced to land at a strange, haunted-like house. The 2nd, 3rd and 4th parts work as a murder mystery / ghost story type of story. It shares plot and tonal elements with Ghost Light and Big Finish's brilliant The Chimes of Midnight. Glory School, written by Tony Etchells and Ben Aaronovitch. It's 1915 and there's a war on. The trenches, a place where no man wants to go. They wait every day to see if the letter arrives calling them up. At the start, people wanted to go, but now no one does. One day, James Black is called up and is sent to Muggian House to be trained up. Back in the trenches, something odd is going on, and it's only a matter of time until James is there. Meanwhile, he has to deal with the odd happenings at the house as 3 mysterious travellers arrive. This story would have been the strangest Doctor Who story ever, unlike any other Doctor Who story ever, unless you count Mission to the Unknown. The Doctor and his companions aren't even in the first part. It really could have been Dr. Light or more like Dr. No. The first part focuses on James Black. It is set in World War I and he's called up to join the army. The story has him spend time at the house while he's training, while being intercut with another story set in the trenches, which is completely unrelated, but is carefully read through the story and connects to the final part. The Doctor, Katie and Henrik do show up at the end of part 2 and help investigate corruption, aliens and ghosts in the training house. As the cliffhanger at the end of part 2, it shows Henrik being transplanted into the trenches. The Hostage, written by Neil Penswick. In an attempt to lighten the Doctor's mood, his companions Katie and Henrik suggest an investigation of a planetary system of 7 planets that has seemingly vanished. The TARDIS materializes on the worst of the 7, and the 3 are assailed by multiple types of threats. The Doctor is thrown into another universe, entirely with Katie. Henrik, in the normal universe, soon realizes the source of the dangers come from the Doctor's own past. This story, like the others, deals a lot on the performance of Griffiths as the Doctor. He has to carry the episode while hardly speaking. He's quite depressed for a reason revealed in the final part, and Katie and Henrik try and cheer him up. Like in Nightfalls, most of the first parts takes place on the TARDIS, fleshing out the Doctor's character. The reason this probably would have been done was because they wanted to give the TARDIS sets a good use to save money. While in the TARDIS, the Doctor starts to investigate a missing system of planets. The cliffhanger to part 1 shows the Doctor and Katie being transported into another universe, leaving Henrik and the normal one in the TARDIS. Part 2 is intercut with Henrik learning how to fly the TARDIS, the Doctor and Katie exploring the other universe, investigating what's happened, and Henrik is digging deeper into the missing system. Part 3 concludes the story with the Doctor and Katie working out what happened to the system, Henrik successfully flying the TARDIS to the parallel universe and rescuing the Doctor and Katie. Lung Barrow, written by Mark Platt. All is not well on Gallifrey. Henrik is having someone else's nightmares. Katie is talking to herself and stumbled upon a murderous family conspiracy, and the Lady President Romana foresees one of the most troubling events in the planet's history. At the root of all this is an ancient terrible place, the House of Lung Barrow in the southern mountains of Gallifrey. Something momentous is happening there, but the house had inexplicably gone missing. 673 years ago, the Doctor left his family in that forgotten house, abandoned, disgraced and resentful. They have waited, and now he's home at last. The story was originally planned to be in season 26 but was pushed back to 28 as it was felt it was too soon to introduce this kind of concept. We would have seen the return of Romana, Leela, K9 and Dread from the Invasion of Time, that CIA agent from Genesis of the Daleks, and also Susan, the Doctor's granddaughter. Would have revealed a lot about the Doctor. I don't want to spoil it here, but I suggest you read Mark Platt's novel of the story. It would have been a truly brilliant adventure, which is certainly worth seeing. However, we do have it in form of the Sylvester McCoy New Adventures novel by Mark Platt. So this is what season 28 would have been from my opinion. What do you think would have been? Please comment down below, and I hope you learnt something new from this video. Goodbye.